Hello, everybody. This morning I met a senior teacher of a school. She was looking little concerned. I asked her what the problem. She was very concerned about the attitude of students. She was narrating how she was when she was in the school final, and how the society then was caring much more for the students, how the students were much more serious, at the same time not sacrificing their school days fun. And she said it is becoming really a challenge to remain in the class. And I was quite concerned about the concern she was showing for the students. Now I recall one of the scientific research I read some time back. This is about the brain of Einstein. When Albert Einstein died in 1950s, Thomas Harvey, the doctor who did autopsy of Einstein's brain, took away Einstein's brain and kept it in formaldehyde for nearly 20-25 years. His project was to find out what is so great about Einstein's brain, because Einstein, when he was a student, was not a bright student. He suffered from learning difficulties. Even as a clerk in a patent company, he was not successful, but something happened in his life and he became a Nobel Prize, and he was the most intelligent person in the 20th century. Now, so this man, Thomas Harvey, Dr. Harvey, wanted to know what is so great about in Einstein's brain. So he was doing a research, taking parts of the brain and examining it. After 20 years of research, Thomas Harvey came with the solution that there was nothing different in Einstein's brain, and his brain content was exactly the same like any other human brain. But then there was one other member of Dr. Thomas Harvey's team, Dr. Marion Diamond. She continued the research of Einstein's brain, and after nearly 10 years of research, she came out with a very breakthrough finding. She said, I have found out the difference which made the difference in Einstein's brain. And she noticed that the density of Einstein's neurons in his brain was much more than any other human being brain. And she also noticed glial cells much more than any other human being cells. So she said, this is the difference. Then she concluded maybe the density of neurons in Einstein's brain and the presence of glial cells made the difference. Now, if you know some doctors, you can check with them that the neurons are the receptacles where the information is stored. Where you talk about Delhi is the capital of India, Tokyo is the capital of Japan, and things like that, facts, and this is square, this is rectangle, this is triangle, this is parallelogram, or whatever, this information is stored in the neurons. Now, we are born with 160 crores of neurons, and every day we lose about 10-15,000 neurons. And because we have so much of neurons, this attrition of neurons doesn't affect us. But something should have happened in the life of Einstein, that the loss of neuron was not much. And then she concluded the environment in which Einstein was brought up was very peaceful, in the sense, because he was not expected to perform very high in a classroom. There was no pressure on him. Like, for example, if I have a child and the child is always scoring 10%, and the parents will expect the child to repeat 10% in the next exam, there is so much of tension for the parents, so much of tension for the student also. But in the case of Einstein, this pressure was not there because he was not expected to perform. So he enjoyed his life visualizing many things. And Einstein somewhere says that he had such a wonderful childhood, complete freedom. For example, he visualized what it would be if I sit at the end of a light beam and hold a mirror in front of me. Will I be able to see my own face? Right, he had so much of time to visualize and ask such certain hypothetical questions like that. If I sit in front of a light beam and hold a mirror in front of me, will I be able to see my face? Any person would have said you won't be able to see, because you cannot travel faster than the light. So he is already at the end of a light beam, so it's not possible. But Einstein refused to believe. It cannot be. So he did research, and that's how he came out with the breakthrough theory of relativity. Now that means the tension, the problem that we face in our life has an effect on the neuron, and this is the finding of Dr. Marianne Diamond. And Dr. Marianne Diamond did one more interesting exercise. She was breeding rats in two different caves. In one cave, the rats had a lot of food. At any point of time, they had so much of food to come and eat. And they practically had to do nothing except eating and sleeping and eating and sleeping. In the other cage, in addition to the food and water, the rats had certain games like swing games. They had to do something to get excited, then they will be given the food. So there was a certain challenge associated with eating and sleeping and drinking, and the rats had to go through that. When the rats died, Marianne Diamond noticed the rats which had to eat and sleep had lesser number of neurons, and they lived much less than the rats which had a challenge. And she concluded the environment in which these rats were brought up had a lot of challenges, and so their brain was much more rich in terms of neuron content. Now, why I am relating this story? Now, I go back to what the teacher expressed, challenge. Now, I have a very interesting story to tell you how this challenge is required in life, and I am going to discuss with you an important aspect called flow. Wait for my next episode. I promise we make a difference in your life. See you in my next episode.